Hello and welcome back to the TeamCity Kotlin DSL series. In this episode, you're going to learn what happens when you make changes in the UI, even though you have your project configured to use settings from your Kotlin code stored in your VCS. Let's check it out. So back in the settings KTS file, I reverted all the changes from last episode, which I hadn't yet committed. So I'm left with a very simple build type containing my Maven step with a custom step name, right? And just keep in mind, the goal I'm setting here in my Kotlin DSL is Maven clean test. And when I go back to the UI, I can see here in my build configuration, build step Maven, yes, it is set to Maven clean test. What happens if I now hit edit? And instead of executing Maven clean test, I want to execute Maven clean package. Now again, I get this small pop-up here. The changes are not yet saved, and I didn't want you to save the changes in the last episode, but now I want you to save the changes. So simply click Save. And you can see the build step settings were updated. The UI says, well, clean package. I get an information message up here on every page basically saying, well, the settings are stored in Kotlin DSL. Please consider changing them in the Kotlin scripts instead of the UI. But the UI didn't really block me from saving, did it? I could just do it. So what happened? And when you go back to your project, to the version settings page, which is going to be your friend after a while, you can always see that at the bottom, what exactly is TeamCity doing? And it was a bit too quick. It just said it committed some changes to the VCS, and it's again running these changes it committed. So something happened. And for that, let's go back to the IDE, update the project. And what you can see is that the TeamCity UI basically did a commit to your Kotlin code, where it simply replaced the goal from clean test to clean package. That was a very simple change, and TeamCity is smart enough to just change the goal. But what happens if you go inside here, for example, and say, well, I'm going to have a variable. I'm simply going to say, I'm going to have a variable called goal name, right? And set it like this. Let's commit it, commit and push, right? So the change has been pushed. Nothing really changed. The only thing I did is introduce a variable. But now TeamCity has no way of just understanding you introduced that variable, and once you change something in the UI, instead of, just changing the goal down here, it should go to the variable to change it. That's not how it works. So let's see what happens now. First of all, let's make sure that the project settings are really loaded. Right, I'm just going to manually force it again. And I'm going to go back for now to the Maven build step, which is set to clean package. Let's click edit again and set it back to test. Save and see what happens. Now again, it's the third time we're doing this. Go back to your project, go to your version settings page. You can see down here, there were UI changes, and these are not yet committed, right? But now TeamCity just committed something to your repository. Now the question is, what is that something? And when you go back and do a pull, what you'll see now is that down here nothing changed, but you suddenly got a new folder, patches, build types. You got a patch for your build configuration. It's called like your build configuration, so build.kts. When you look inside that patch, you might be thinking, is that like a Git patch? Can I automatically merge it? What is going on? No, it's just a name for something you have to look at manually. So you have to have a manual look at these build files. You see that it was expected that you have a goal, was our Maven step, my custom step name, with a goal clean package, runner arguments, right? That is what you had. Afterwards, the only thing you want to change is setting the goals to test. and you need to do that manually. There's no way of just applying these changes now to your settings KTS file. So you have to be smart enough to just say, well, someone wanted me to set the goal to clean test. So I'm going to go to my settings KTS file and then be smart enough even up here, right, to just put it into the variable if you still want to use that variable. So just set it here or just get rid of the variable again for now, like this. Now your patch is applied, and what you have to do is you have to get rid of the file and delete it. So you're just going to delete the whole folder. That is how you apply the patch. So the file is gone, the build KTS file is gone, your settings KTS file is up to date, and you would have to say commit applied patch, for example. This is what happens when you change things through the UI where TeamCity doesn't understand the structure of your Kotlin settings KTS file anymore. Keep in mind how the patches work, but for now you have a solid understanding of the basics of how Kotlin DSL works, and it's time for you to go a bit crazy with the Kotlin DSL and write more complex configurations, which you're going to do right in the next episode.